Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar, which is a program launch of a new program that Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities is launching. And it's a program called Preferred Insurance Rates for Elected Leaders and Staff. And so we're pleased to present today's webinar to you. And so welcome. I'm Ian Morrison, the Director of Operations and Communications with the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities. And I wanted to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kmaqui, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and BrokerLink are partners in providing elected leaders and municipal staff with an exclusive insurance discount program on your personal home and auto insurance, and that's through BrokerLink's group insurance program. BrokerLink is proud to provide quality insurance products, expertise, and solutions to our sector. Their dedicated group insurance advisors will compare your coverage options and help you get the most comprehensive coverage at the best possible value. So this is a sector-wide initiative. So it's open to the broader municipal sector for elected leaders and municipal staff. So this webinar is intended to demonstrate how the program works, how it can provide you with potential cost savings, and how you can access the various services of the program. Erin Kinsman is a group relations specialist for the Atlantic region. She works for BrokerLink out of the Kentville, Nova Scotia office. And today, Erin will present on the program and will answer your questions about the program, as well as any general insurance questions that you might have. Erin is joined by her colleague at BrokerLink, Jenny Bonner, who is also a group relations specialist. During the presentation, I'll be monitoring the chat line to see if there's any questions that you have, or alternatively, you can raise a hand and we'll give you an opportunity to ask your question. And there'll also be a time for you to ask questions at the very end of the presentation. So again, welcome. And Erin and Jenny, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks, Jenny, for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I am Erin Kinsman, as Ian has formally introduced myself, and I work in the Atlantic dealing with our group insurance program. And we are very excited to have formed this new partnership with the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities this year. The program launch was effective January 1st, and we've entered into a 3-year at least agreement, and hopefully we'll have many more years of partnership following that. I just want to thank each of you for all the work that you do in our province of Nova Scotia within our municipalities, and everything that you do for us, keeping our province running smoothly, offering programs, etc., etc. So our group program is administered for all NSFM members. You all qualify, including your spouses and your partners that live in the household with you, and any dependent children. It's also available to any retirees from the program. So if you do retire from NSFM, you still have the option to have these discounts available on your personal home and auto insurance products through BrokerLink. Any questions on eligibility there? Nothing? Okay. While Intact offers the discount on your home and auto products, we do also have other groups available, and we do have another insurer carrier who offers group discounts. So as a member of NSFM, we can apply those discounts through Intact. We've also got Economical, who offers a large number of groups through BrokerLink, including the Nova Scotia Golf Association, the Chamber of Commerce. So if you're a member of any other, say the Chamber, when you do call and get your quotes, if you mention that you are part of the Chamber, maybe that you are a golfer, that will give you opportunity to have 2 of our insurers at a group discount for you. So Intact is our provider for NSFM, but we do have other options to further discount your policies. We realize that not everybody is going to have the best rates through Intact. So the more companies, that's the benefit of dealing with a brokerage. We sell for most major insurance companies in Canada. So we have several options for you to look at all of your insurance needs, and hopefully save you guys some money this year. We know the cost of everything is increasing, and insurance is definitely one of those products that we want to try and save where we can. So I'll get into some of the details on insurance and coverages and limits a little bit later in the presentation. At BrokerLink, we have a number of different ways where we can offer business to you. Preferred rates for your home and auto. We've got expert advice and customized solutions from our brokers. You can do that. We've got over 20 locations, branch locations within Nova Scotia and numerous municipalities. So you can stop into one of your branches or a local branch to you with your documents if you prefer to do business face-to-face with one of our advisors. We also have this dedicated group phone number. It is a 1-833 number. We would ask, rather than call just your local BrokerLink office, that you do use this number, because this number is directed towards our advisors who are familiar with the group. They will know when you call into this number that you are a group member. So automatically they will know that they will be applying those preferred rates to your quotes. And then we also have the municipalities. We've got a BrokerLink landing page specifically for municipality members. And that website will bring you here. And again, this has a link where you can get a quote online directly on this. We will also know that you are a member of NSFM if you do select the get a quote on this page. It has some of the details on our partnership, as well as a contest that we're having this year that I'm going to share some information with you guys on, a chance to win one of $4,000 or $5,000 cash prizes just for getting a quote through BrokerLink. And then it has some of the options here. So if you're looking for an auto quote or a home condo tenant, and then these are all of the different options that we provide quotes for. So this is your landing page specific for NSFM with the number, again, the email, and we'll know that it's coming from an NSFM member. Any questions on that? You will see here there's no payment, or we have convenient payment options, sorry, with no finance fees. So that's one of the benefits of being a group member also, and getting those preferred rates. Not only are you getting additional discounts on your products, the insurance company, Intact and Economical, they will waive the finance fees for any monthly payment options, which most companies charge a percentage for a monthly payment option, and that varies between 2 to 5% from company to company. And also the 3-pay option, Intact offers a 3-pay option, but they do charge a $35 fee for that. For group members, those fees are waived. So that's just one of the other benefits. BrokerLink is also partnered with Fetch Pet Insurance. So we offer a 10% discount on pet insurance to our group members. Now, this is simply a partnership that we have. All of your questions, anything, you can get free quotes at Fetch Pet Insurance online. We know that they're an important part of the family, and that you want to ensure that they have the protection they need. Pets, when they do get sick or have some injuries, it can be very, very costly on us. So if you are interested in having a quote, obviously it's something that you would need to do prior to your pet having an illness or having an injury. But as a BrokerLink client, you can receive an extra 10% off. I will say, and I'm not just saying this because I work here, when I got my puppy last year, I shopped around for some quotes, and I did end up with Fetch Pet Insurance. They've got an app, you can use it online. Their quotes were competitive. They were cheaper than Trupanion, who I also had a quote through. So this is just another option available to you to save some money or to look for some insurance needs that you might have. Some coverages for pet insurance may include treatment for injuries, treatment for illness, some sick visit exam fees, and emergency vet visits. So anything like that would be covered under the insurance policy. Of course, the premium that you pay will depend on your pet, the age of your pet, the breed of your pet, and many other things. There's a threshold what you can select a $300 deductible, which is what you would pay up front, or $500. So that obviously has an impact on the price that you'll pay for your pet insurance, as well as the limits that you select. So a lot of varying factors. But if you do need a quote on some pet insurance, we do have a link, or just look up Fetch Pet Insurance /BrokerLink, and then you'll be able to get a quote online. Quotes are free. They're easy to do. Everything's done online. Any questions with the Fetch Pet Insurance? All right, back to the contest that I briefly mentioned to you guys. This year, BrokerLink is offering a chance to win $5,000 for all of our group members. So the period from January 1st to December 31st this year, if you get a quote on one of your property or auto policy lines, this is not including the Fetch Pet Insurance. As explained, that's simply we're just a partner with them. But through your personal home and auto insurance products, you are eligible for one of our 4 $5,000 cash prizes that we'll be giving away. So the first draw will be in April for that, then July, October, and then we'll do the final draw for 2024 in early January. And it's when an NSFM group member requests a quote on car or home insurance. Between those dates, you'll be entered to win one of 4 prizes. Make sure that you let our advisors know that you're aware of the contest, and just to make sure that you are entered into that, whether you accept our policy or not, because we would never expect somebody to move their insurance where they're going to pay more. But just by giving us the opportunity to quote on your insurance products qualifies you for one of these draws. So very excited for these.
Aaron, we do have a question in the chat, and if somebody's already a client of BrokerLink, how would you go about getting a more competitive rate under this program and payment option with no interest?
Okay, if you are already a client of BrokerLinks and you are not insured through Intact, we can quote you with those preferred group rates applied. The best time to move your insurance and to have it quoted is on your renewal. However, we can enter the information, maybe send Ian or myself an email, and I'll do a follow-up to make sure that somebody reaches out to you to quote you with the group discount so that we can get you eligible for this prize. If you are currently an Intact policy holder and not with BrokerLink and you're at another brokerage, you can do what we call a broker transfer. So you can transfer your policy on the renewal dates. However, we cannot add this discount on the first year. Intact will not allow us to do that. So yes, if you are a client with BrokerLink, you're already with Intact, on your renewal, we can add the discount. We'll send Intact an email and ask them to reissue your Intact renewal with that group discount. If you are insured, let's say with Pembridge or Portage, Travelers, one of our other insurance carriers, we will quote your policies on your renewal with that discount applied, and you will be eligible for this. If there's anybody on this call and you are currently a BrokerLink client and have policies insured with us, please send Ian an email, Ian, if that's okay with you, and you can forward me the names and I will look into those and we will reach out to everybody because we want to make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity as well. I also wanted to mention, in addition to this $20,000 essentially that we're giving away to our group members this year, any BrokerLink client, we've got a referral program as well. So anybody that you refer to BrokerLink, as a BrokerLink client, if you refer somebody, so your work colleague, any dependents or any family members, any friends, if you let that person know to call BrokerLink to get a quote and they call us or email us and get quotes through BrokerLink, we give a $10 Gusto card. Gusto is a vendor or is a gift card provider that has numerous vendors, including Walmart, Tim Hortons, a number of restaurants, Mark's Work Warehouse. So you can select where you want that $10 gift card for, but anybody who sends a referral our way, you will get a $10 Gusto card, and the person you referred will get a $10 Gusto card, and they don't even have to accept the policies through us again. It's just a referral bonus program that we offer. It's kind of a thank you for sending a referral our way. And there is no limit to how many of those cards you can get. So if you refer three people this year, you'll receive three $10 Gusto cards in a separate email. You must have an email, and the person that you've referred must have an email address, because that's how those gift cards are sent out. But there is no limit, and you can stack those $10. So if you sent 3 people and you have $30 in gift cards, you can select $30 for one vendor, or you can select different vendors. Okay, let's talk about the benefits of having a broker versus an agent. So again, as an insurance broker, we have access to a large number of insurance carriers that sell in the broker channel within Canada. So a broker, we will take your information, we will compile your information based on the risks that you have. So your home and your auto, we will put it in a quoting system that will generate quotes with all of our different markets. So yes, we can apply the additional group discounts with Intact, but Intact may not always be number one for you. Maybe we have Pembridge, who is another reputable insurance company in Canada that is offering a better rate than Intact. We would then offer you the lowest rates for the best coverages that you need. I do want to talk a little bit about insurance and some of the discounts and the biggest discounts today, and rates and limits. There's 4 really large discounts today. The 4 largest discounts that you can get when getting quotes are credit. Insurance companies do, and you will be notified of this. Insurance companies do a soft credit hit, and people with good credit will get a better rate. If you decline that, it doesn't mean that you're going to get a worse rate. It just means that you're not going to get the best rate possible to you. They have done the studies. They know people with better credit are better at maintaining their home. They have less losses, less claims than people with poor credit. Sometimes there's a moral risk involved, not all the time, but with people with credit. So that is one of the biggest discounts today. But again, that's entirely optional, and you can opt out to not have that soft credit hit done. You just may not get the best rate available to you. The second largest would be your multi-line discount. So when quoting your policies, it's really important to make sure that you try and combine your home and your auto policy with the same carrier, because you are going to maximize your discounts. There's about 25% in discounts. It's usually 15% on the home or auto and 10 on the other. It varies per company. Intact might be a 15% discount for having a multi-line on the auto and 10 on home. Pembridge, it might be the opposite. However, you always want to try and keep your policies with the same insurance company if you can. We know that's not always possible because of certain risk conditions and factors. However, if you can, try and keep them together. Or when you're calling for a quote, make sure that you let your broker know that your policies are combined. Sometimes we see people will call and ask for a quote just on their auto insurance because they've received their renewal. Their home insurance maybe hasn't increased, and so they're okay with that, but their auto has, and they want to shop that. Well, by separating those two, if you leave your one policy and move it to us, you're going to see an increase on that other policy where you've left it. because you're going to lose that discount. So your multi-line discount is one of the other huge discounts today. The third is your group discount. So that's what's available to you through BrokerLink. As an NSFM member, those discounts range from 10 to 20%, and the savings on your finance fees. There aren't any other discounts within an insurance policy that offer that much of a discount. So that is another big one, is your group discount. And then fourth, with Intact specifically, they've got the telematics discount. So it's a My Driving discount, and what it is, it's a user-based insurance. Now, this is becoming much more popular. You hear about it a lot more. And it's not that insurance companies are tracking you. It's that insurance companies, they say you're a good driver. Well, then prove it to us. We're giving you the opportunity for you to earn a discount. And that discount is upwards of 30% with Intact, and it's calculated twice throughout the year. So by signing up for that My Drive discount with Intact, that's a 10% discount right off the hop. You've got the opportunity to save upwards of 30% midterm. I completed that program when it first came out. When it was first offered with Intact, it was with a dongle. So I plugged it into my car, a port in my car, and I kept it in there for 6 months and drove around with it. And some of the factors that I don't want to say monitor, but is your hard braking and your rate of acceleration. You know, are you a really aggressive driver? Do you brake hard a lot? There's different things that it kind of monitors to give you that that discount. I highly encourage you to take that unless you are a driver that is often on your phone or distracted or what have you, because they will know that if you are on your phone turning music and doing stuff like that, that will affect your discount. We've also got loyalty discounts. So let's say you've been with your current insurance provider for 5 years. And by moving those policies, you may think, oh, well, I'm going to lose that discount. I'm going to lose some of my discounts. We will enter that. Some of the questions that we ask you, you may feel is not pertinent to getting an insurance quote, but really we're asking these questions. How long have you been with your current insurance provider for? Because we can apply, we can transfer those discounts. When we enter that information in the quoting system, that will also transfer through and provide a loyalty discount when you've been with your current provider for over a certain amount of years. Usually the threshold is 3 years with companies. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing to shop your insurance every few years anymore, given the rates and the coverages available and how those are readily changing with markets now, especially with what's going on with the we've had some catastrophic weather claims and stuff like that. So if insurance companies have seen substantial losses, they may increase those rates based on your postal code or whatever, but you still can get those loyalty discounts by moving your insurance. It's always a good time. It's always good to check, especially on renewals, to make sure that you have adequate limits on your replacement cost of your home. If you're eligible for water damage coverages, any scheduled items that you may have, you always really want to ask the questions, be forthcoming with what you have. Replacement costs on your home during COVID. Did you add a swimming pool or hot tub to your property that you may not have notified your current insurance carrier of? But be mindful that when you do call a new provider for a quote, if you hadn't disclosed that information to your current carrier, our limits are going to be different. Our exposure, our coverages are going to be different. So we have seen some of that with people adding renovations and doing things through COVID. Oh yeah, well, we added an addition on our home or a sunroom, but my current provider doesn't know that. Well, our limits, our replacement cost is going to be a little bit different, and that's going to have an effect on the rate that we give you. So just be mindful of that and make sure that you make your insurance provider aware. Otherwise, these are how claims can get denied by not advising your insurance company. Maybe you added a wood stove to your home or a pellet stove. You didn't notify the insurance company. Something happens and you have a fire. Your insurance company can deny that claim based on what's called a material change of risk that they were not aware of. you didn't let them know that there's now wood heat in the home, which they do surcharge for. So we want to be really mindful of any changes that you may have made, or letting your insurance company know of these things. Centrally monitored alarm discount. Intact offers an alarm discount. Most of our companies have an alarm discount. So if you have, you know, a centrally monitored alarm in your home through Eastlink or another provider, a lot of our companies do offer a discount for that as well. And then of course we've got our claims and conviction free discounts. Be wary based on, you can move your insurance to companies, but if you've had recent claims that can impede the ability to even move your policy with a new provider. Oftentimes, if you've had a claim within 3 years, it can be a little more challenging to move, or your rates are going to be a little bit higher because you're losing out on that claims-free discount, specifically on the property. Auto, it's extremely hard to be competitive, almost impossible. If you've been with your same carrier and had a clean driving record and you had an accident and you had that claims-free protection, that's your first accident-free, so they will not affect your rates on your renewal. When you go to get quotes with other companies, they cannot offer that. We wouldn't be able to offer you the same rate that you're currently getting because you have a forgiven accident with your current carrier. So again, based on eligibility, these are some of the things just to be mindful of when you are shopping, and if somebody, you know, provides you with a much higher rate based on that information available. It's always best to shop your policies on renewal. However, you can call at any time during the year. We will quote your policies for you. We just can't guarantee you that the rate we give you at that time is what it's going to be come your renewal time. We can tell you those rates are good for 30 days, but not anything past. So, and if you want to cancel your policy that's not on the renewal date, you are subject to a penalty with that insurance company. They all charge it. So I really wouldn't advise, unless you're saving upwards, you know, several $100s a year, then it might be worth considering, but keep in mind the penalty that you're going to pay may offset that. Any questions with any of that? I have a bit more information on that as well. I just want to talk about the difference between auto insurance, which is regulated by the government. It's a mandatory coverage. If in order to drive an auto on a road in Nova Scotia, or I guess in Canada, you have to carry insurance. You have to have at least liability insurance. Insurance companies, it's regulated by the government because it's mandatory, so they can't just increase their rates. Like people say, oh, they increased my rates just because. Insurance companies have to file with the government. They have to prove, you know, their loss ratios, what they've brought in versus what they've paid out. They do request the amount that they will, the rate increase, and the government has to approve of that. Property policies are entirely different. There is no regulation with the government, and every single insurance company can offer and does offer something different with limits, with coverages. Keep in mind, a property policy started with just fire. You know, back when it was Lloyd's of London, when they started property policies, it was just covering if there was a fire. Now they are so comprehensive, but it's coverages that you can build or add on, and it's based on eligibility. And I wanted to bring this up because what we saw last year with the flooding in Brooklyn and St. Croix, which was extremely unfortunate, there are some low-lying areas, coastal regions. There are certainly areas where certain coverages are not available to you. So it's really, really important when you are having the discussion about your insurance, your property insurance, with your advisor, ask them what your limits are, if you're eligible for the overland water. You know, ask your broker what you would be covered for and what you wouldn't be covered for. If you foresee that you live in an area where there is an imminent risk of flooding, you might not have the option to add that coverage on your insurance. Or maybe you do, but they'll only allow you a $10,000 limit. The other thing with property is your deductibles. can change from coverage to coverage, from peril to peril. So an insured peril on a property policy, we're talking about wind. In a windstorm, is your roof affected? Your policy might have $1,000 deductible. However, some of your water coverage, so a sewer backup claim, overland water or groundwater claim, the minimum deductible might be $2,000, $2,500, $3,000. It depends on the company, but just be aware that those do differ. Any questions on that? One more thing I wanted to mention also coming out of COVID is, have you moved your business into your home? Did you have a business somewhere else? And maybe through COVID, you move that business into your home. Is your insurance company aware of that? And I don't mean, I know a lot of us now coming out of COVID, we do have the option to work remotely. I know we can work at home a few days a week, you know, if not most days a week. Make sure your insurance company or your broker knows these changes, especially if you've moved a business into your home where you have stock or contents. Maybe you have clients coming to your house, because that is the number one reason an insurance company will deny a claim. If they do not know that, because not all insurers, especially if there's US or international exposure, even things that you're doing online, they may not cover that. So you do need to be forthcoming with that information. Make sure your provider is aware. And so we can find you the best company that will accept that risk that what you're doing at your home. We can place you with the company. That's really, really important, because we have seen some claims, unfortunately. Insurance companies do have a bad rep for not covering claims. These are some of the reasons why. And I just want to make people aware and educate people on some of these things. Like I said, auto's a little more standardized. Property is not, and they can deny those claims. They can, unfortunately. Insurance is also there. It's not a maintenance policy. We are responsible to maintain our home. You know, insurance is there for a sudden and fortuitous loss. So if you have a crack in your foundation and you've had a slow leak, you know, over time, that's eventually caused some mold to build up in your basement and you go to put in a claim, that may also be denied, because really it's something for sudden and fortuitous. The general maintenance of our properties, your roof over time, you know, if you know your roof needs to be replaced or it's getting there, you know, we really are responsible for that. If you try to put in a claim just to have your roof replaced and it's not due to a windstorm or anything like that, you are going to see that claim probably declined, and the insurance company is probably going to say, hey, okay, we know that your roof is in disrepair and needs to be updated. Please get that done, or we are not going to insure you any longer. Property policies also, there are surcharges for certain, so for oil heat, your oil tanks, very important. Insurance companies are really sticky with oil tanks because of the environmental impact that they can cause if there is a claim. So they do want to know the age of your oil tank, the location of your oil tank. You know, is it fiberglass? Is it double walled? And they do surcharge based on the age after a certain age. And they also can decline to insure the risk altogether, insure your home altogether based on the age of your oil tank. Wood stoves and pellet stoves, they obviously want to have wet inspected to make sure that they were installed to code and everything is good. Trying to mitigate or alleviate the potential for having a loss. Multiple claims, having multiple claims on a policy, unfortunately, if you have 2 or more claims within a 5-year period, most insurance companies will no longer insure you. And I mean our regular market. So in insurance, we've got our regular market insurers, which is just your everyday risk that don't have any claims associated. And then we've got what's called substandard. So again, the benefit of being a broker is if you have had a misfortune of having a few claims within a few years, and nobody means to have accidents and these things. You know, a lot of times you can't foresee these things happening, and insurance is there for when you need it, when you cannot afford to cover those losses on your own or do those repairs on your own. But then we do have options for our substandard markets, which we can still get you insurance, although the coverages might be a little bit less, and the cost is definitely more. But scheduling items, make sure that if you have any art collections or jewelry, or you know, if you collect cameras or anything of that sorts, those things can be scheduled on your policy, and should be scheduled on your policy. If you buy them new, we'll need a bill of sale at the time that we do schedule those on your policies. You will pay a premium per thousand usually. It's not a lot, but you definitely have additional coverage limits for those things on your policy. I know a lot of people do not, especially where I should, I don't read all my policy wordings on my property, so I don't know all my, you know, normal limits for things like this. But you do have the option to schedule jewelry with an appraisal every 5 years, or a bill of sale if you have it new. Anything of those sorts. You know, some people collect art or various things, coins. If you have a coin collection, you know, that you feel that you want to have insured in the event that there's a fire, mysterious disappearance is covered under that. You know, there's a few extra added coverages when you schedule items. So that's a good conversation to have with your broker. But I just want to encourage each of you to really, when you're talking about your insurance needs with your broker, getting quotes, just think of all of the things that you might have that, you know, if I were to have a fire in my home and have to start over, what are things that I really would like to be replaced? You know, limits within a policy for those things are very, very low. So, you know, if you have anything, those are something to keep in mind. Any questions on that?
I'll chime in with a couple of questions that have come in on the chat, and they deal with the working from home or working from the office. So I guess the bottom line is, if you are working from the office and then you're working from home, or vice versa, you were working from home even for part of the week and then you got called back to work from the office, I'm assuming that your insurance broker should be aware of that change in your working habit. So that's question number one. And then as a follow-up, in general, is working from home in terms of rates and insurance for your auto and your home, is that generally speaking more advantageous to be working from home? Does it result in maybe some savings there? And then I guess the other part about it is, how does working online change your home insurance? How does it change it in general? And if you have meetings or there are people coming in, is one thing, but online work at admin meetings, how does that actually impact your insurance?
Okay, yeah, great questions. So working online, there is really no change. We know, I just think it's important to let your advisor know. Insurance companies know now, because most of us are also working from home and have that hybrid. However, the biggest concern is if you do have meetings at your home, or if you are having clients come to your home, that's when it becomes an issue. So just make sure you just let your advisor know, or when you're getting your quotes, that you do say, hey, a couple days a week I do work from home. I've got my laptop. I don't have stock. You know, I don't have an office where I've got people coming to see me here, and I do go back and forth between the office. That will not affect your insurance rates. However, operating a business, let's say you have moved a dog grooming business or something that you did on the side from a location into your home, that will severely impact your insurance. And you need to make sure your provider is aware of something like that. But just working from home, you're fine. If you have gone,
oh, sorry, does it affect your auto insurance? Because
it
maybe
does, and that's where I was just leading into.
Okay.
If you have gone, so one of the rating factors on an auto policy is your commute distance. So if you are no longer commuting daily to and from your office and you're working from home with no commute, that affects your rates. Your rate will be lower because you have less exposure on the road. So if you went from a 20-kilometer commute daily to no commute, or maybe you only go in 1 day a week, talk to your advisor and see if they can let the insurance company know where you're doing that far less. Your rate should be adjusted for that. And that's the same, that works the opposite too, right? If you've had a change, if you've moved, or if your commute, if you've changed locations, your commute went from 5 kilometers one way to maybe 35 kilometers one way, there is a difference in that as well. So your premium, you will see a slight increase for that as well, because again, you're more exposure. There's more of a chance you're on the road further. There's more of a chance for you having that claim, and that does affect the rate a little bit.
As a follow-up, if you have a staff member working from home, perhaps for health or care of a family member reasons, should they be discussing that or mentioning that to their insurance advisor, even though it might only be on a short-term basis?
If they're just working from home, just looking after somebody?
Yeah, I think it's perhaps they have gotten an allowance from their employer to be at home in part to care for somebody in the household.
No, that wouldn't affect your insurance, as long as it's a dependent living in the household. Now, if you have a dependent in your household that you're looking after, that you have additional medical supplies, or maybe like a specific bed or other things, you might want to discuss you should discuss that with your insurance broker and just let them know, so that they can go to the company and just see if maybe they need to add that equipment or increase a value for that.
Okay, great. Another question for you. What if you're driving your car to run errands for the municipality? What risks are associated with that, and should your broker be aware of that?
Yes, your broker should be aware. Anytime that you are transferring anything for work, important documents or anything like that, computer equipment, you do want to make sure that your insurance company is aware of that. Yeah, because they will ask you some questions, some liability questions, and then they will determine if they need to change the classification for the use of your automobile or not, because there are different rates and classifications. And sometimes, especially, I'm going to use Uber for an example. If somebody is driving for Uber, yes, intact, the companies will insure that. But if they're not aware and you run into a claim situation, that gives them the opportunity to possibly deny that claim. So you do want to make sure that if you are carrying any, I guess, your computer equipment, any tools, anything like that, the risk classification is a little bit different. It can change. And again, it's risk by risk. Every risk is different. Every situation's different. So maybe if you're doing that once a month, they may just want to have that noted and they won't classify it. But if you're doing that daily or even maybe weekly, they will want to have that classified and noted that you're using your vehicle for doing these things, running errands for work, and that. Definitely important. That is an important one, especially if you're taking employees, other clients, maybe children for work purposes. Absolutely. Very important. That was a great question.
I'll fire another question at you. Is it a myth or reality that the color of your car can impact your insurance rates?
That is an absolute myth. What impacts your insurance rates on auto? So your commute is one of them. Your driving record, so how many years you've been licensed, how many years you've had continuous insurance, any claims or convictions. Your credit is a small one now. Your postal code. So insurance companies have Nova Scotia, I believe we're in 5 different territories. Halifax being the most expensive, the Halifax Regional Municipality. Obviously, there's a lot more vehicles on the road. and the lowest in the province, the lowest rated territory is the Valley territory. But then we've got Cape Breton. So there's 5 different territories. That has an impact on your rating. And then your vehicle type, every single vehicle and VIN number. So it could be the same vehicle and a different model will have a different rate. And this is all done actuarially. So we know the insurance companies know, and they've got the statistics from their actuaries. Toyota RAV4, maybe the hybrid, would have a higher rating, possibly, or maybe lower than just a regular RAV4. That's, just your gas powered vehicle. Every single vehicle has rates on them determined by the number of thefts, severity of injuries, number of claims, the cost and the ability to be able to repair those vehicles. There's a huge number of things that go into the rating of each vehicle, and these are all factors. So a lot of times people will think, well, I got a brand new vehicle and it's less to insure. Shouldn't it be more? It costs more than my current vehicle. Well, not necessarily, because your brand new vehicle has a lot more safety features on it that insurance companies give discounts for. So, and I don't know if, there's a lot of different things that go into it, and the color of your vehicle is not one of them. That is a myth. A red car doesn't cost more to insure than a yellow car. However, different models of the same vehicle will cost more. It's funny too, because you could think, Ian and I could drive the same vehicle. We could both go out and buy the exact same vehicle. Our rates are not going to be the same because of all of those factors that I mentioned. Ian's been driving longer. Maybe he's got a better driving record. Maybe I have a ticket. Maybe I live in Halifax Regional Municipality and Ian lives in the Valley. So same vehicle, 2 different people, entirely different rate altogether. Maybe I have my auto combined with my property and Ian doesn't. There's a huge number of factors. And there are a lot of myths around insurance. Another thing is everybody seems to think that parking lot is 50-50. That's entirely false also, right? Claims adjusters have a rule book. If both vehicles are moving in the parking lot, they may deem it 50-50. If one vehicle is not moving and the other vehicle has backed into that vehicle, obviously the person that's in the moving vehicle is going to be found at fault. Left turns, if you are turning left in front of somebody, that's almost automatically 100% of the time at fault. So there are certain things. You could say, even if you turn left, and that person was speeding, maybe they were, going double the speed limit, they're still not going to factor that in. You're going to be at fault for turning left into that oncoming traffic. So, but there are a lot of myths. We do know that with insurance. And I mean, maybe later down the road, Ian, we can look at doing a Mythbuster presentation, right? Because we do have one of those. Yeah. There's a lot to insurance, and insurance is misunderstood. Insurance companies do have a bad rep. There absolutely are better companies with claims. And I'm happy to say that after being in insurance for 15 years, I am extremely thrilled that Intact is your group provider, because they are hands down the absolute best. If you have the coverage, their claims service is phenomenal. And I can tell you from experience.
Okay, so we'll see if there's is there any more slides you have to present, or can we?
Yeah, I do have one more.
Okay.
As another value through BrokerLink, we are also partnered with To Go Travel Insurance. So actually we've got 2 slides, Ian. Our travel insurance. So travel insurance, if you think medical, if you have a medical plan, you do have some coverage likely under that. However, the travel insurance options that we can offer go above that. I would suspect if you want to use this for domestic travel, you can. Mostly we see these products for international travel. The big thing I want to point out to you, especially with what's happened in this last year, we've lost Swoop Insurance, now Lynx Insurance. So anybody who was expecting to return home on a Lynx flight within the last week, well, they're stuck. If you do not have insurance for that, you are on the hook to pay for that difference to get yourself home. So travel insurance really is good to have. Look into your own for your medical insurance, but we do have options for travel medical insurance. Your trip cancellation and trip interruption. Maybe you've got a $10,000 or $15,000, once in a lifetime trip planned. That really, if there is somebody falls ill in your family, or you break a leg or something for whatever reason, if it's a small fee to pay to have that trip cancellation covered through insurance. Maybe your baggage loss, you do have some of that sometimes on credit cards and stuff, but you can get coverage for that. You can really essentially build your travel policies, emergency medical, 24-hour travel assistance, accidental death and disbursement. Nobody likes to see this, and unfortunately it's one of my friends who does work in insurance. Her spouse unfortunately drowned in Cuba, so it was a huge cost just to get his body brought back to Canada. So I mean, these things do happen. You can't foresee that happening, but they do. So if you are looking for any coverage, BrokerLink is partnered. I also want to let you know, just up until March of this year, that another contest from January 1st to March 31st. For each to-go travel insurance policy you buy or renew, you'll have a chance to win. So one of these gift cards. So first place is $1,000, $500, $500, and one of 15 $60 gift card prizes. So in this page here, it also gives you some information. This is something that our brokers at BrokerLink do not do and won't be able to answer, but you can come on this page to get some quotes or find the information for this that's available to you. And then last but not least, we know the cost of everything, especially interest rates these days, are going up. I'm dreading renewing my mortgages later this year. Very happy to know that we have a partnership with Pine Financial as a BrokerLink client. So you do have to have a policy through BrokerLink. You have access to preferred mortgage rates, which is huge, because you will not get the same rate that just anybody else that's not a BrokerLink client through Pine. So I am going to have them quote my mortgages this year as well as my bank, and I'm hoping to see that this is helpful. But for those of you that would like to save, we've got competitive rates, expert guidance, and personalized solutions. It's just another layer of value in our partnership that we can offer to you. And I will show you. So Pine is partnered with BrokerLink. BrokerLink customers will receive a preferred rate discount on the rates displayed below. We know the cost of everything with groceries, insurance, interest rates, everything. It's, we want to save where we can. So these are just several options for you. Something to consider. Again, we're very excited for our partnership, and I hope we can be of value to NSFM members. I want you to know that, there will be some of you that do come. Maybe you are getting the best rate where you're at. We know there's other insurers that are offering discounts in the group space. And then there's just some other companies based on your risk and your needs that are offering a better rate. But if you give us the chance to quote, it's always good to shop around and to quote and to ask the questions, to make sure that you are covered properly. Cheapest isn't always the best coverage, right? You want to make sure that for your needs that you have adequate coverage. And sometimes it might cost a little bit more, but at the end of the day, if you do have that claim and you do need that insurance, when you do need it and it's there, it's a great thing. But we're just happy to work with you, happy to be on board with NSFM. I am here as your high level contact. So if you do have a less than favorable experience when dealing with one of our brokers or somebody at BrokerLink, please bring this to Ian's attention so he can bring this to me as the high level, and we will certainly deal with this. Or maybe you feel that you haven't been treated fairly, or maybe your quotes, maybe you're a little unsure of, or didn't get somebody that could answer those questions to the best that you were looking for. we'll certainly, I'll raise my hand in looking after that for you guys.
Okay, thank you. We'll do a last call to see if there's any other questions that you might have. And while I wait for those to come into the chat line, there was a couple of a comment or two on how responsive Intact Public Entities was during the recent wildfires. So that's information that's I'm sure that's good to hear. And I guess a last question might be, what are some best practices to use when your home is unattended, and how long should you leave your home unattended before you have somebody checking on it? What happens if you're just gone for a day or two and there's a water pipe breaks, that kind of thing? Any advice there for the folks on the webinar today?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And again, going back to the property policy, homeowners policies not being standardized like auto, every single insurance company has a different requirement. So while Intact may be they need somebody in your house, especially during the heating season, they might be every 24 hours they want somebody in there. And if you don't have somebody in there every 24 hours and you have a pipe burst, they may be able to deny that claim. So that's something to make sure if you're insured with Intact, or to ask your broker, what are the requirements on this? Intact would be different, but I would say to be safe, I would do it. I would have somebody check on my property probably every day. Just go in, take a look around, and do some things, maybe turn the water off, or some things that you can if you are going to be away for any length of time. Maybe let your insurance provider know, hey, I'm going away for a week. What do I have to do? What's required of me? That way it's documented. They know if something happens, what we've advised you have done. They can't, we would have to go good for that claim if something were to happen.
Okay, thank you. There's no further questions. So one of the things that we should point out we have with this particular program is there'll be an education component to it, of course. And at different times during the year, we'll be sending out some information through social media in our Monday memo with some best tips and good practices to engage in for your insurance needs. So Aaron and Jenny, thank you very much for your time today. And thank you also for attending our webinar. I'll follow up by sending out an email to the participants tomorrow, which will include the slides as well as Aaron's contact information, and mine as well, of course. And we look forward to working with you on this exciting new program launch. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ian and all members, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day today to spend an hour with us learning about our program and our partnership. And we look forward to working with you.